these reports of Kaieteur and the fourth project that he signed off the other day should be made public so that we can see what is there for us. We can see whether we are getting anything or not, how much we are being robbed. Come on, guys. Come on. You got to stand up, man. You have to do it.
Yeah.
God Almighty did not send us here with our hands tied behind our back, our mouth bound, our ears and nose clogged up, our feet tied to. No. It is free. Our eyesight, our smell, our ears are open. And we have to fight. We have to speak up for what is rightfully ours, man. Please. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. God bless. And good night to all of you.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith, and in your headlines today, Guyana scores fairly low on EITI standard. Board flags country's failure to make contracts receipts accessible and understandable, facing suspension if no corrective action taken. Systems overhaul at GPL can help reduce blackout woes, according to Patterson, and ExxonMobil's fifth deepwater project to produce 275,000 barrels of oil per day to start up as early as 2026. $848 million estimated to build call centers in Regions 2 and 6. President Ali assures PPPC will not spy on population, and Supreme Court Registry earned over $253 million in fees, fines, and seizures in 2018. Stay tuned to get the full details of these stories and more.
Need an easy Mother's Day gift that mom will love? Gift her the all-new DL4 for only $12,000 with a bigger display, better camera, and the best apps. Plus, get a free 30-day Prime bundle with purchase. Be mom's hero this Mother's Day. Visit a Digicel store near you. Digicel, better together.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
And now for the news in detail. The board of the Norway-based Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, or EITI, said on Tuesday that Guyana has achieved a fairly low overall score in implementing its 2019 EITI standard. The EITI's 2019 standard requires that open data on natural resource income and contracts be a routine part of government and corporate reporting, while providing information to stakeholders in a time frame and format that support widespread use in analysis and decision-making. The board, which manages 55 member countries, said the overall score of 52 points for Guyana reflects an average of the three component scores. These scores were given in the areas of outcomes and impact, transparency, and stakeholder engagement. The board expressed concern over Guyana's low score in outcomes and impact, 42 points. It said this score reflects the ad hoc approach to outreach and dissemination, weaknesses in follow-up on EITI recommendations to deliver reforms, and insufficient attention to the annual review of outcomes and impact, with a view to informing the annual EITI work plan. The board also flagged the country's failure to make contracts, industry receipts accessible and understandable. It called for action towards this end. It is understood that Guyana will have until April 1st, 2024 to carry out corrective actions. The board warned that failure to demonstrate progress in the next validation exercise may result in temporary suspension. And moving on. An overhaul of the systems of GPL is being recommended as part of the solution to bring an end to Guyana's electricity woes. This is according to former Minister of Public Infrastructure and current Shadow Minister of Public Works, David Patterson. Patterson noted that while the power company under the former APNU-AFC administration had its fair share of issues, blackouts were significantly reduced. He explained that this came as a result of an analysis of GPL systems, which were conducted by the new management team that was in place to deal with the daily operations shortly after the government took office. According to the former minister, it was then discovered that there were at least 17 ways in which there could be a major power outage. The most common issue was more safeguard was needed. And moving on, following the government's early April approval for its fourth oil production in the Stabroek Block, the $10 billion Yellowtail project, ExxonMobil and its partners have wasted no time in seeking the authorities' blessings for a fifth deepwater development. In its project summary that was submitted to the EPA, ESSO, which operates the Stabroek concession, said the Uwaru project will be located in the eastern portion of the block, approximately 200 kilometers from Georgetown, and amid previous Stabroek projects. Current plans include drilling via drill ships to produce oil from approximately 40 to 76 wells. Production is expected to begin between the fourth quarter of 2026 and the second quarter of 2027, with an expected field life of at least 20 years. The anticipated production rate for the FPSO ranges between approximately 220,000 to 275,000 barrels of oil per day. The vessel will be capable of storing approximately 2 million barrels of oil. And moving on. With $2 billion approved for call centers and other co-investment projects, the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce is planning to spend some $848.7 million on the construction of 2 call centers in Regions 2 and 6. The projects, which fall under the Business Development, Support and Promotion Program within the ministry, were opened on Tuesday at the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board office. According to information released from NPTAB, the projects have been divided into 2 lots each, with each lot estimated at $212.1 million. 8 contractors have submitted bids to the office to execute the construction of the centers. As World Press Freedom Day was celebrated in Guyana on Tuesday with the opening of a 2-day conference for media workers, President Ali has assured that the government has no intention to spy on its people, and in fact, the thought has never even crossed his mind to tap into the work of the media in particular. This year, World Press Freedom Day was observed under the theme Journalism Under Digital Siege, which is intended to highlight the ways in which surveillance and digitally mediated attacks endanger journalists and their profession. It was the president of the Guyana Press Association, Nazima Raghubir, who inquired of the president whether the administration is in possession of any spyware or plans to acquire and use it, especially in journalists. The president said we must be careful not to invent problems where they do not exist, adding that wherever such practices exist must be rooted out, as no government should be spying on their population. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 9 in Guyana. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio. We will resume after the break.
Guyana, join me on the Glenn Lal Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Glenn Lal Show only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. Guyana's Supreme Court Registry collected over $253 million in fees, fines, and seizures in 2018. This is according to the judiciary's recently released annual report for the year 2018. The Supreme Court Registry is a revenue earner. The registry earns revenue in the form of fees that are required to be paid in accordance with the scales of fees contained in the rules of court for the performance of duties and execution of processes by officers of the court. The Magistrates' Court are also revenue earners. The Magistrates' Court also earn revenue from the fines and costs imposed by magistrates from the outcome of cases, and in some cases where bail is by the magistrates. According to the 2018 report, in addition to the $253.9 million, the registry also earned $1.5 million in state costs, $34,353 in other loans and advance, $856,462 in sundries, and $600,000 in sale of assets. Meanwhile, following months of dialogue between the government and the Houston airport system, a memorandum of understanding was officially signed on Monday, May 2nd. The understanding, which was signed on the sidelines of the Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas, has established a mechanism between the two parties to strengthen collaboration and promote the expansion of a safe, modern, and efficient airport. Both Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat and U.S. Ambassador to Guyana Sarah Ann Lynch applauded this partnership, which paves the way for the exchange of expertise in the areas of operation, economic development, and advancements of both airports. And moving on, the 24-year-old suspect wanted for shooting two cousins on April 16th last, one of whom later succumbed to his injuries at North Sophia, Georgetown, has turned himself in. Based on information, the suspect, 24-year-old Denzel Haynes, walked into the Brigdam police station on Tuesday around 14:30 in the company of his lawyer, Bernard De Silva. Haynes is accused of shooting 27-year-old Yarden Jacobs and his cousin, 29-year-old Steve Bacchus, during a street brawl, which they had just after midnight last April 16th. Jacobs was shot to his lower back, while Bacchus was struck to his abdomen. During his time in hiding, one of Jacobs' relatives was active on various social media platforms, calling on him to turn himself in. She had posted photos of the suspect with a taunting caption. Eventually, one of his acquaintances begged her to stop posting the suspect photos and assured her that he will turn himself in, but needed a little time. On Tuesday, Haynes did turn himself in and is presently in police custody. In other news, during her visits to schools on Tuesday, Minister of Education Priya Manikchand announced that schools may need to remain open during the July-August period, when schools are usually closed. The minister, according to a press release, explained that keeping schools open would be necessary to cater to the learning loss or gaps that students are suffering from due to being away from school for the close to 2 years due to the pandemic. Minister Manikchand explained that diagnostic assessments have been done to know where students are academically relative to where they need to be, so the teachers will know how to engage them in the classroom. Additionally, the minister also explained that the ministry produced a consolidated curriculum to have students exposed to what they would have learned in the previous year. And in other news, the assault charge against Kian Jabbour, General Secretary of A New and United Guyana, has been withdrawn. On February 18th, Jabbour made his first court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Senior Magistrate Leron Daly for assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Jabbour had denied the charge that was read to him, and he was placed on $20,000 bail. As such, acting on the advice of his party, he removed himself from political life, pending the outcome of a trial on the matter. However, the woman has since withdrawn the charge against Jabbour, and the matter was dismissed against him. Following the withdrawal of the charge against him, the party, in a press release on May 1st, welcomed back Jabbour. And we close things off with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. Not another atrocity. We call on all right-thinking Guyanese to renounce individuals and so-called movements that are seemingly in the interest of this nation, but are not. Words are simply not enough to prove their worth anymore. Action is always spoken louder than words. Why must the people of this nation embrace one atrocity after another? We encourage the decent people of this country to condemn any movement that is not morally right, that damns this nation for eternity. We will not be rendered a hopeless nation because of the actions of a few. We will use our free will not to support abominations, but rather to bring to naught anything that threatens a better life for Guyanese. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.